Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. I'm your host, Pattsun, and today we're gonna be taking a look at r/Pettyrevenge, where OP gave his cheating wife exactly what she wanted. Let's begin. Divorce Revenge, posted by a deleted Reddit user.
I guess this belongs here. Backstory: I dated a girl from 2008 to 2016 when we got married in May. Things were amazing, almost never fought, had the same goals, interests, everything. She'd always been a bit of a truth stretcher, but nothing too serious, usually just to make herself look better to others. Her best friend would comment on it to me, but we both blew it off because it wasn't ever ill-intentioned. She also always had to be the center of attention, literally refused to play Mario Party if she wasn't Mario and would throw a fit. Absolute minor things really. Well, in the span of a year, her mom passed, she got off antidepressants, we got engaged, she moved 2 hours away for work for 3 months, and we started wedding planning. Then she gets a new job for a guy that only hired young women who was just divorced by his wife for cheating. Well, marriage is tough, choices have to be made financially, and she was told no for the first time in her life, and he promised her the world, and within 3 months of getting married, she had already cheated. I tried to save it, but it was over. The revenge: all her stuff was in my house, clothes, furniture, everything. She left with the clothes on her back and a handful of other things. Lied about moving in with him, lied about going out of the country, lied about not having him over to our house. I got everything that wasn't explicitly hers. She had to provide a list, I had to approve, and she would let me know the exact day and time to pick up her stuff, and she was only allowed to bring her dad to help. So I threw all of her stuff in my sunroom, safe from the weather. You can get to it 2 ways, through the side yard to a back door, or through the middle of the house. It was during the time of year it usually rains in the evening. Tonight was no exception. When she arrived with her dad, all of her stuff was laid out in piles in the sunroom, but I made sure all of her sex toys and outfits were on top. Petty revenge. Yes, but that's not all. Remember, there's 2 ways to get to the room. It's raining outside, so going through the yard sucks, but coming through the house had a catch too. That same night I decided to throw a little party. I invited all the people that told her she was an idiot for doing what she did. Some of the guests included her now former best friend and maid of honor, 2 other bridesmaids, 4 other close friends, and a police officer to make sure it all went smoothly. We had a very lovely dinner watching the show. She did complain to her lawyer, but was told tough shit. Now faced with walking your stuff through the rain or walking through all your close friends, which would you choose? She chose the rain. Edit to add, forgot the second part, it's early, meant to add at the end. His ex contacted me because she didn't know if I knew they were cheating. One thing led to another, and one night we hooked up. She was very pretty and very good. We ended things because we both thought it was just too weird. TLDR, I made my ex choose between walking her stuff through the rain or facing her disapproving best friends, and made her pack her sex toys with her dad.
You know, for someone like your ex who wants to be the center of attention, you made her worst nightmare come true, making her the center of attention at the precise moment she doesn't want to be the center of attention. That is next level revenge, OP. Well done. And now for today's second story. I accidentally accused my wife of cheating on me, but actually it was just my daughter, and now we may divorce. Posted by Reddit user Throwaway.
Hey Reddit, throwaway account for obvious reasons. Also, sorry for the length, a ton on my mind right now. Me and my wife have been married for 25 years and are immensely happy. We of course have the normal fights, me not cleaning the bathroom, arguing about me losing money on sports betting, her spending twice as much at the shops as we agreed to, etc. But overall have a really happy marriage. Until about 8 p.m. last night. Recently, we've been having a bit of trouble in the bedroom. I don't want to derail the post, but basically sex has naturally slowed down between the 2 of us in the last couple years. This has really bothered my wife and bothered me a bit also, I will admit. Once we vocalized the problem, we both agreed we're going to take steps to fix some things. We talked to some doctors, basically all of them wanted to put my wife on some serious medications, which my wife was pretty against. This led to about a year of building what we call our sex drawer, filled with products in the kitchen that my wife has tried and tested and likes the ingredients of. It's nothing crazy, literally things like vitamin D, zinc, some Lubrisil soft gels, maca, stuff that has been tried and tested, nothing too wild and all OTC. Now here's where things start to go downhill. So my wife naturally takes these products around the times we're going to be getting intimate. Now, I don't like to monitor the kitchen drawer, but sometimes I do peek. About 3-ish weeks ago I noticed a ton of pills and soft gels were disappearing. Me thinking I'm about to have a pretty good week, I start to get mentally prepared for it. So, about a week after that, I recheck the drawer, and a ton more of the stuff has been taken. I remember thinking, that's weird, we haven't done anything recently. About a week later the same thing happened, tons of pills and soft gels were gone. And I'm not going to lie, I get in my head a bit. Last night, me and my wife went out to dinner. After a couple glasses of wine, I asked my wife why she's been taking so much of the stuff in the sex drawer without trying for any intimacy. I asked coming from an angle of both worry and confusion. Immediately my wife gets insanely defensive, blows off the conversation and tells me she isn't talking about it. This of course makes it where now it's the only thing I want to talk about, and while I respect everyone's, I don't want to talk about this. I think something like this should probably be fucking discussed. I pressed a bit, and for about an hour she's not having this convo. Basically, it gets to the point where I just blatantly ask my wife if she's seeing other people. My wife, who has never been aggressive or loud, starts basically screaming at me in this Italian restaurant. She tells me my daughter has been having some relationship issues with her boyfriend, and has been taking some of the stuff to help. I'm like, why the fuck didn't you just tell me? She goes on a rant about how some things are girl to girl and how my daughter didn't want her telling anyone. Which I get, but come on, I buy the things to fill the drawer. My wife ends up leaving the restaurant mid-dinner. I've honestly never seen my wife this mad. I'm honestly a bit worried for our marriage. And to top it off, my daughter is acting awkward around me. I get that I stepped out of line with the questioning, but the defensiveness really caught me off guard and would have assumed my daughter using our stuff would have been discussed. I wouldn't have actually cared and would have bought more stuff. Anytime I try to talk to my wife, she makes it seem like I'm an insane out-of-control monster, that I've broken the trust in our marriage, and that I've ruined 25 years of progress we've made together. Reddit, am I crazy? I'm beyond confused right now. Edited 4 hours since I posted. Wow, a lot of incredible information in here. Thank you to everyone for your comments. This post has made me feel better and has allowed me to think about other aspects of our marriage. I've seen a ton of requests for info, so let me try to answer some of the questions here. Me and my wife didn't go to the doctor for only libido issues. I don't know the general age of Reddit, but as you get older things like menopause and other hormonal issues became a reality, just the way of life. I didn't plan on questioning my wife at the dinner, it had been in the back of my head, and after a few glasses of wine I handled the situation poorly, which I 100% agree with all of you, not the right time or place, though we've had tough conversations before in public. Calling it a sex drawer may have been a bad name, but it's just how we reference it. We didn't really think too deeply when coming up with the name, and I don't know actually which one of us created it. I don't have a good reason why it's in the kitchen, but we're kind of past the age of caring about what someone may or may not see in our home. I wasn't monitoring the sex drawer. The Lubrisil soft gels come only in a 30-pill supply. Half the pack or so missing is very obvious even at a quick glance. And for why I didn't automatically assume my daughter, the soft gels mentioned above and some of the other stuff in there are for a specific thing. While I don't know the ingredients too intimately, you wouldn't really expect those things to be shared. And finally, for those mentioning that my wife is still actually hiding something, I appreciate your comments, and it has given me a ton to think about. While I won't jump to those types of conclusions, I do agree that there is probably more that needs to be discussed between me, my wife, and my daughter. Now for OP's update. Hey again Reddit, here is an update from the Reddit post that I posted about 5 days ago. As for the update, I wish I had better news. After reading through the post and all the messages everyone sent, I was a bit overwhelmed and a bit confused, so I decided to just relax and really not try to jump to any conclusions through the weekend. Many of the points that were brought up did broaden my perspective, and some of the ones assuming infidelity did get to me a bit, and I was running pretty high anxiety-wise. Realize, at this point, me, my wife, and my daughter still aren't talking. Our home has suddenly become one of the most lonely, isolating, and awkward places in the world. Sunday night, while watching some basketball, I basically just thought to myself, I can't go on like this. So I went and talked to my daughter. I approached the conversation in a you can talk to me about anything, and if you and your boyfriend were having sexual issues, I would be glad to buy you guys more stuff. My daughter just starts to seemingly break down to an almost uncontrollable sob. I'll be honest, I thought at this point she was going to inform me on some serious medical issues or something. Once she calmed down, she basically says that she's taken some of the vitamin D and zinc before, but has never taken any of the Lubrasil or black cohosh. I look at her with that, "Do you realize what that may mean?" kind of look. We just hugged and cried together. I've spoken to some of my friends who have gone through similar things and have gotten advice from lawyering up and divorcing my wife right away to marriage counseling and fighting for the 25 years we've been together. At the moment, I'm not going to do anything. Need a bit more time to think, need to talk to my wife and really find out what's going on. This is probably the last update from me, as when I first came to Reddit this was just a silly fight between me and my wife. Now it's progressed to a place that it's feeling a bit too private for me to share, and the above update was a bit tougher to write. Thank you again for all your comments and perspective. You all have helped me see something that I was blind or refusing to see.
OP, you do realize that both the medications you just listed are medications that needs to be taken daily. They are not as needed meds. This whole update just confirms that the first post was bullshit because you clearly have no idea what you're talking about. You know, it was just you crying with your 25-year-old daughter over missing Lubrasil. That one really got me. This story is just so stupid. Viewer support is the best way for me to remain independent and continue bringing you these daily videos, which will always be here on my channels for you to watch absolutely free. So please consider subscribing to me on Rumble and on YouTube. Both will be linked in the description box down below. Thanks for listening, everyone. If you even somewhat enjoyed today's story, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and if you really like it, consider subscribing to Pattsun to never miss a future upload. Stay strong.